Howdy, howdy, howdy. Objectively,
Welcome.
What episode is this? 5?
Whew. Yes.
We made it. We thought we'd never make it.
They said that it would never happen.
They said it would never happen. But objectively speaking,
we don't let them get to us.
we never miss. So, that's all you need to know. Today, we're going to be talking about something... Cinema is what we're going to be discussing.
Back to the movies.
The film industry.
Mm-hmm. Hollywood.
We're discussing a classic.
Yes.
A household name movie. Before we get to talking about it, let me ask you a few questions. Why did you recommend this movie?
Do you want to tell them what the movie is?
No. Why did you recommend this movie? It's in the title of the video. What do you mean I gotta what are they, children or something?
You're right.
Good lord.
I didn't think about
Don't even, no respect. Anyways, why did you want to watch this movie so badly and review it? And why are you so obsessed about this movie?
Well, I didn't do that. You told me to watch it. So, but after I watched it, I do realize that there's lots of cool. Like, this movie is actually extremely interesting.
Have you seen this movie before? Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Okay.
But now I see. I really like this kind of thing where I've seen references to this thing before, and I never knew what the original thing was. Yeah. And now I know what the original, and it's like, oh, all those things make way more sense now.
Yeah.
And
I first watched this movie when I was like 16, I think, and I remember thinking it was like the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life, and I couldn't believe no one else had heard of it.
So, what genre would you call Vampire's Kiss?
Oh my god! I was watching this. I noticed so many parallels to American Psycho. Yeah, I was thinking.
It is the American Psycho genre.
It's like if you wanted to make American Psycho, but you only had like $3 in your pocket, and you're just like, I gotta try at least. I gotta put something out there. Get as close to American Psycho as possible without infringing on any copyright or anything like that.
Yeah, it's almost. Which one came? Well,
the book came out. Let me look.
Vampire. I feel like Vampire Kiss probably came out after American Psycho, right?
Psycho book. Let's see. 1991. And then Vampire's Kiss was 1988. So this came first.
American Psycho came first.
Vampire's Kiss.
Vampire's Kiss came first.
Yeah, because this was 91. Wow.
Vampire's Kiss came first.
So they stole
Psycho ripped it
the
off.
plot from Vampire's Kiss and turned it into American Psycho. Basically, is what we're discovering now on the Objectively Podcast, episode 5. In history, this is what we've discovered.
I mean, I really would seriously say there's at minimum a lot of inspiration involved because
the
amount of parallels are.
Well, I think that both movies are just trying to be, whether for comedy or not, trying to be a commentary on the 80s. Like,
wait, again, what genre is it?
It's
what
definitely
genre?
satire. It has to be. You can't not classify it as satire.
Satire of what?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. Okay.
Vampire's Kiss?
Yes. What would
American Psycho is satire of like...
That's a dark satire. It's a very dark
Both
satire.
of them are pretty dang dark.
Yeah.
And then, like, for example, which, like, when I first saw it, it gave the genre, it said comedy, and then something else I forget. But I remember I was like, okay, this is, I guess, going to be funny. And watched them, like, they were like, I'd maybe say 10% of the movie was a comedy. But like the other 90% was like, this is intense.
I'd say the best parts of the movie are definitely when it's being funny. Or at least when it's being a satire. And then when it's not, it kind of gets a little boring in some scenes where I'm just like, I remember rewatching this and I was like, I don't remember this being this boring sometimes. Like I remember all the scenes I thought were funny, and they were funny. But then when they weren't those scenes, I was just like watching, and I was just like, okay,
oh, no,
is something gonna happen? Oh yeah, I wrote notes down while I was watching, and I wrote one note. It was just like, this movie's more boring than I remember, and then the next thing I wrote was, never mind, he just ate a cockroach.
Dude, that cockroach scene was crazy. That looked very real.
It had to be. There's
That
no way.
looked like he actually picked up a cockroach and put it in his mouth.
Well, you know that some of the scenes where he's out in public in the movie, they actually just went out with a camera with Nicolas Cage and dressed him up and everything. And that's literally him just out in public in New York streets, just like acting crazy, and people actually reacting.
Is that legal? Do they have to like get everyone's signature after the
What
fact?
are you,
Like,
a narc or something? What do you
I mean,
care?
I'm just always confused of how they do public scenes with like hundreds of actors or hundreds of these people or the cars. Like I don't ever know exactly how that works.
What do you mean? You just do it. It's called guerrilla filmmaking. You just film reality.
Then you have to get every single person in the frame consent, right? After the fact.
This was in the day, man. This was in the 80s. No one
sued anybody back in the 80s.
I mean, I see YouTubers going out in the streets of New York all the time, just filming whoever they want, vlogging.
Yeah, for a YouTube video, but it's different between an actual cinematic Hollywood film.
Is it? I think New York has laws where they're like, you can film anyone at any time. I think so.
But there's a difference between filming and then filming and then making money off of it. Because you could sue them and say, hey, I deserve some money because I'm in your film. Right.
I mean,
You'd like to film the video, put it on YouTube, and you don't make money. That's legal. There's nothing. They can't sue you. But if you film them and then you make money off of their likeness and their faces in your video, now they have a right to potentially sue you.
I don't know, man.
Anyone in that movie, sue them.
Anyone who worked on Vampire's Kiss, message us.
Yeah.
And we'll hear all about.
You deserve your rights.
You deserve recognition.
Yeah.
Basically, we care about you. Yeah. So Vampire's Kiss. I guess I will go over like a brief, just like description of it, for the video for solidarity. Let's go to Wikipedia. They're never wrong. Vampire's Kiss is a 1989 American black comedy horror film directed by Robert Bierman and written by Joseph Minion.
Mr. Minion.
Wait a minute. Starring Nicolas Cage, Maria Conchita Alonso, blah, 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 a bunch of actors. The film tells the story of a literary agent who falls in love with a vampire. The film has later developed a cult following largely due to Cage's scorched earth acting, which has become a source of many internet...
What acting?
Scorched
earth acting?
I have never
Is that a link you can click on? Scorched earth acting? No, it's just called scorched earth acting.
Just miscellaneous.
I mean, it sounds like he's just being
scorched earth.
He's not holding back.
His performance is insane. It's amazing. It's not. It should be taught in schools.
It sounds like scorched earth acting. It's just so, he doesn't hold anything back.
I mean, he recites the entire alphabet, and he gives every letter so much.
A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z.
There is no letter in that alphabet that did not get.
He said every letter.
A completely unique, gesture and
hand motion and full energy.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah, that's one of the memes that I've seen before, and I was like, that looks funny. Yeah, now I finally know where it came from.
I think, that scene where he is talking to, what's her name? What was the actress's name?
Oh, the assistant?
Alva. He was
okay.
He's like, I know it's a horrible job. I hate it too. And I want you to do it. You're the only one. You're the lowest on the totem pole. And I'm going to fire you if you don't. What do you guys say about that?
He starts by saying you're the lowest on the totem pole, so that's what. But then he says, but even if you weren't the lowest on the totem pole, I still would only give it to you.
No, he's like, even if I found someone lower, I'd still make you do it.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, that's even. I don't know. I just don't even know you do.
Oh my god, I was dying laughing when I first saw that scene. It just came out of nowhere. It was like, oh my god, this is a masterpiece.
It's I don't know. It's funny, but it's like it's too.
It's horrible.
It's too real. It's
the character that Nicolas Cage plays. Like, what is his character? He's just an eccentric rich guy who.
Okay, so he is going crazy. Right?
Okay,
that is the point of the movie. Is the whole point of the movie? He's spiraling down to becoming
You don't know that.
a crazy
He could
person.
really be a vampire.
He's definitely crazy.
You don't
It's
know.
absolutely clear. That
He
in the
could,
movie.
you know.
Now, at the beginning, you're like, did he actually get bit
Oh
by
my
a
gosh!
vampire?
When the bat shows up in the apartment and they're like freaking out and there's the music is being so serious and you're like, and it's just like I was just laughing like what the it's just a fucking bat
Well,
like
the bat also looked really bad.
I know it looks
The
so
bat
bad.
looked so, and I wasn't sure.
I
Like,
could swear
is
I
this
could-
supposed to
I
look
swear
bad?
I saw the string like multiple times.
Like-
Like don't even try and
Like,
hide it.
I don't know if that was intentionally supposed to look bad.
I don't even
because
care.
It looked really.
It was so funny. Like
because the thing that got me is how slow it moved.
yeah,
It would move
was
in,
so
and its wings were like
funny.
it's like moving like this, and like
It looked
that
like-
doesn't look.
It looked
real.
like something round that they just covered with like
Yeah, it was
some
very
kind of-
round.
It was round and they covered it with some kind of like fur or
like
something.
it was like a bottle.
yeah,
Like
and
a
then
plastic bottle.
and then they just had the
covered in
wings,
fur.
and then they're just all right, just you know,
Put
just
a mechanism
make
on.
sure the camera's real shaky so you can't see it right, you know, while that's
Yeah.
going on.
That bat
I-
was just not it, man.
But it was amazing.
But it was funny, but I don't know if that was intentionally funny.
peak cinema right here.
I don't know how much of this was intentionally funny versus not intentionally.
That's
funny.
I love thinking about that. It's just taking as long as I can think. Like, okay, so part of the plot is that he's going insane.
He definitely.
That he thinks he's a vampire when he's not.
Yeah.
But also that he's going to see a therapist who
Correct.
turns out to not be real.
No, she was definitely real.
At the end of the movie, he was like out and he was talking
Yeah.
to himself.
That
and
scene was not real.
that scene was not real.
That's what I interpreted. I interpreted the therapist totally real and he's going to, but then he went over the deep end and then he was walking randomly and imagined himself talking to his own therapist, but it wasn't his own therapist.
but you could just as easily argue that
I
she
guess
was never real.
I never thought that. I assumed she was
like this is the
real.
same conversation we would be
No,
having.
no, no, no. She was real. You know how I know she's real?
How?
It's because when she called him, there were things going on. She was on the phone, right?
Yeah.
And
okay.
then her boyfriend came up and like gave her a kiss.
Oh, that's right.
And he did
You're
not
right.
know that.
You're right. You're right.
So,
okay, that's
that's
a good. That's a good. It's good you caught that.
Yeah,
I didn't think
but
about
you're
it.
right. It could have like without that, it could be up to interpretation. But
I mean, this is like the same conversation we'd be having if we were talking about American Psycho. Like, is it real? Is it not real?
he's going crazy.
It's like which
and he-
scenes are real, which are not.
Yeah,
It's
and,
like
and he's this same like finance guru, alpha male guy. who
yeah.
wants
Well, I mean, he's like okay. So I saw something about this film that said it is a satire, and it says here it is. This is on IMDb.
okay.
This is not a movie about vampires. This isn't a single vampire in the movie. Instead, it is about a man who loses his mind and begins to think he is a vampire after an unsatisfying series of one-night stands that make him feel empty. So movie is a metaphor for like relationships or something.
Too much sex, premarital.
This
sex.
is exactly what I see his character as. Is a guy who's super rich and super spoiled his whole life, and now he's just bored with being so rich and getting all these women, and that he's just like, I'm just pretending to be a vampire. Like, fuck it. Like, what's gonna happen? Worst that'll happen.
I mean, but it wasn't a conscious choice.
It wasn't conscious?
No, he thought he was a vampire, not by choice.
But I can't
Because
believe
he's crazy.
I can't in good conscience believe that this man who is what is he what's his job title? I can't imagine a dude with a literary like agency like who works there just suddenly one day is like I'm a
You know,
vampire.
think smart people can go crazy? Of course they can.
Is he
But
smart?
to your point, the whole scene with him buying vampire teeth.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, do you think you're a vampire or not? Are you? So you're buying vampire teeth. Vampires don't buy vampire teeth.
Yeah.
So what is this? I don't understand what this is.
And he couldn't afford the good ones because he spent $50.
That's
on
where
the
it's
cab
clear
ride.
that they're trying to make it funny.
And it was like he was like, I just wasted $50 on you, Alva. You better find that file for me or whatever. Like, oh my god, dude.
But that
Like
and that scene with the plastic teeth when he first put them in and he has this big ass glasses on and he put them on and he faces it and it's like his lip is even in the
yeah.
that was like okay, that was the comedy
He
part.
could
of
be
it.
a real vampire still. You know what? You
That's
think a
true.
vampire can't wear vampire teeth? Also,
Why would they do that?
yeah.
Why would they do that? Why would they do that?
Why would they do? Yeah, I remember that scene. Like I tried to write down quotes that he said. If I found one funny, like, I will take the plastic. I don't know. I just thought that line was funny.
Oh,
Like,
I will take the
take
plastic.
plastic.
I'll take the plastic.
Also, his accent. What do you think his accent is in the movie? Sometimes he has an accent, sometimes he doesn't, and the whole time it doesn't sound like an accent from anywhere that exists.
yeah, it's kind of vague.
What would you describe in as least racist description? Tell me what race his accent is from.
I mean, it just sounds like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, if I were to try and do
hard
it,
for me.
like he just sounds like he sounds like a pretentious, pompous asshole. That's what the accent is. It's just a dude who's like
That's right. Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, he's trying to sound like an American Psycho-esque person, where it's just like the top alpha male snob.
You think if Patrick Bateman and Nicolas Cage in this movie met, and that they would be friends?
They would match made in heaven,
Kiss each other a lot?
kill each other.
Oh.
Both.
After they have gay
Yeah,
sex.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we should review. Now I want to review
American
Psycho. That'd be
Ooh.
good. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, when he was like talking to his therapist, and the first time in the movie at the beginning, he's like talking about the bat, and he's like, "Yes, but I seem to get an erection. I was very horny." Oh, he's always horny. The whole movie is very horny, by
Right.
the way. He makes that very clear. He's like, "I was very horny." And she was like, "Okay, well, you were having sex before that, right?" He's like, "No, but the bat made me horny." And she's
Yeah.
like, "Well, okay."
Yeah,
so...
that was confusing. I was like, she was like, I don't know what that would
So
mean.
what do you want me to do with this information now? Like, what? And she was, okay, so let me get this straight.
Wanna fuck a bat.
So you were having sex with the woman, and then the bat came in, and that is when your erection began, right? And then he goes, and his line is, "Yes, that is the precise order." of
Yeah, that's the
events."
precise order of events.
I thought that was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the precise order.
do
I
you-
want to use that.
Like how much of what he was saying was improv? Do you think that was actually written down in the script?
I hope none
yes,
of it.
that was the precise order of events. That's such
Yeah,
a weird
I mean,
thing
Nicolas
to write
Cage is such an extreme actor.
down. Instead of just saying,
like,
yeah, that's right.
It
or
would.
something.
It would. I would believe it 100% if this entire movie was improv by him and just like whoever's behind the camera.
Especially when he's going really, really crazy. It's like, you can't write all those things down.
That's
It's like,
right. You
you know
can't.
what I mean?
Okay, so I bet in the scene it's probably just like act crazy now, and then he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, I get to
Yeah,
just go off."
I get to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many scenes and so many funny moments that it's hard to like. It's hard to just talk about this movie in a linear fashion because it's like what I was saying before about how it kind of gets boring sometimes in the movie. It's like it gets boring for just long enough in the movie for you to think, it's starting to go downhill now, and then it'll give you something crazy
Yeah.
happens, and then it'll just be like a few more minutes of boring dialogue. There's nothing happening, or shots of the city, and then it'll go, and then he'll eat a roach,
Yeah.
or he'll
Yeah.
jump up on the on the table and like, Alba!
Bring it up another level.
Yo, let's talk about one character for a second. Alba, right?
Mm.
She needs to get her shit together.
Why couldn't she find it?
Unfucking believable.
Well,
This is a
I'm just-
professional business.
I'm just imagining she had to look for a file. She had to look for one piece of paper in a big file. How hard is it to just go like, no, that's not it. No, and then and then you get the
How
file.
do you lose
Get
a file?
the paper.
You put it from A to Z.
It shouldn't
A,
take
B,
days.
C.
It should take it should take an hour or something.
Yeah,
But
like
no, I feel like she was the component of the movie that kind of reeled it in to reality.
I mean, sometimes she would do something so crazy, and she would just be
Like
like,
what?
he showed up to her house,
Yeah.
and she opened the door, and he was like, Alba, in the previous day, he like, what did he do? He tried to rape her or something
He
crazy.
chased after her.
Yeah.
Just a
And
little chase.
just a little
But then he said sorry after the chase.
That's right.
Because and this is the thing about chasing.
No, he
it's
goes
like,
to her house, and then he's like, she opens the door, and he's like, Alba, I'm so sorry. I didn't. When you come back to the office, things will be different.
Well-
and she's just like, aw,
No,
okay.
well, you have to admit the thing.
And I think
he
she
was-
lets him into his house
the
after
thing-
that.
No,
Does she? I
she
don't know.
got into the car with him to leave.
That's right.
No, but the things be, he was being very sincere sounding with what he was saying. He sounded self-aware. He sounded like, look, I was going crazy. We're going to change the way things work. And you're very important. And he sounded very genuine, right? So, like, I understand, if you were more skeptical, you're watching a movie, so hindsight is 20/20. But, the point is, she was really good at reeling it into reality because she was, like, the sane person. And everyone else was, like, really just the other character, the main character.
It's everyone is sane compared to this guy.
Yeah, everyone's sane.
Well,
she's being abused by her boss. And everyone can kind of feel some empathy towards that. It's like, ooh, that sounds really crappy.
This movie is why HR was invented.
It was. The first scene where I like the scene where he's like screaming out his name and she's not coming in the office, and then he says, Ava, and then he goes out and he jumps on the desk and he points at his head. There you are!
She's like,
I would, if I was Ava, I would have laughed at that. That's funny. If you had came up to me and jumped
I'd be
on
thinking
the
this
desk,
man's about to
there
rape
you
me
are.
now.
Well, no, and that's the other thing is, I would not move because she was in a room full of people.
Yeah.
So I would have stuck right there and made sure everyone around me is there in case things start going down.
I mean, he chased after her.
But
No one did shit.
That was the worst thing she could have done because now she's off by herself with nobody around her. She should have stayed right.
I mean, that's like horror movie logic from the 80s, It's
if he
like,
started beating the crap out of her, someone would have really stopped it in reality. But yeah, the fact that she ran away was like the stupidest thing she could have done.
I think this is just a movie about a guy who's been a spoiled rich cunt all his life, and now he's grown up and he's like this now, and he's starting in his life at the time of his life. I think he's in his 20s in the movie. Mm-hmm. He's starting to gain some self-awareness about who he is and what kind of a horrible piece of shit he is, and so he's using this vampire bullshit, this whole shtick, as an excuse to try and be like, Alba, it wasn't me, I was a vampire, and that's why I've been acting so crazy lately, It's just like, I'm not being myself lately.
But he did think it wasn't like you keep saying it like as if he's choosing to do this.
He wasn't choosing. The movie is very obviously alluding to the fact that he's like crazy or has some kind of like psychosis or delusions of some sort. So it's like I wouldn't be surprised if he knew some of what happening. Like, come on. Like, there's no way this dude is just like, I'm a fucking vampire.
The whole vampire stuff, absolutely, he believed. He believed he was a vampire. It wasn't a choice. But at the same time, I think, I may be metaphorical for, he's also like a social vampire because he's absolutely like disturbed and is able to suck the energy out of people and is able to be very cruel to people who are lower class than him.
Right, yeah.
And so he's that, but at the same time, he actually starts to go crazy and believe he's a vampire 100%. He is not using this vampire thing to do it. He just is going crazy while simultaneously being a horrible, terrible person who's cruel to lower class people. So both of those things are conglomerating together at the very end where he's clearly crazy, talking to his imaginary therapist, and then he's like, yeah, therapist, I raped somebody yesterday, and the therapist is like, don't worry about that.
Also, I murdered a guy.
Yeah, but the other big part was I did murder a woman too.
Oh,
she's
don't worry
people
about
get murdered all the time.
That's right. People get murdered every day.
Don't let that get in way of your happiness.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like that is like a perfect example of what's happening. Is he is clearly delusional of he actually believes these things are happening, which is not real at all. And at the same time, he's horrible, even in his delusions. He's crazy.
Do you think people like this actually exist in the world? Not like think they're vampires, but I mean like this type of guy who is just a crazy like narcissistic maniac, like in a office setting. Like, you think these people exist who have all this power and they're just like, I'm just gonna ruin this particular person's life?
I definitely think they probably exist, and. The scary part about people like that is, and I think Plato or somebody said something along this line, is that the people who gain power are always the ones who shouldn't have power, because to gain power, you have to be ruthless. And if you're ruthless, you shouldn't have the power in the first place, but that's how you gain it. So if you're in a very high position of power, it's more likely or not you probably stepped on some people's throats.
So no matter what, if you're in a position of power, you had to step over someone to get there.
I said more than likely.
More okay.
Right. So I do think people like that exist, probably, because once you get to that really high, like, millionaire class in New York City, stock trading or whatever, you are probably stepped on a lot of people's necks to get
I would
there.
go as far as say there are many people like this in the world who exist. I wouldn't be surprised if I've met them. Wouldn't be surprised if I knew their name. But
they're sitting in the room with one right now.
Sitting next to me. Wouldn't be surprised if I'm schizophrenic and I'm talking to myself alone in a room right now.
In a back alley.
talking to a therapist or not. Or
talking to
who's to say?
A trash can.
But yeah, the like I was saying before about American Psycho, the book was a commentary on the 80s trend of these like cokehead like stock
finance guys,
stock dudes who were all about self-image and masculinity and things like that.
Right.
And so I think this movie is kind of similar to that. We're trying to be a commentary on those types of people.
The same thing, yeah.
And yeah, I think those people exist for sure.
And then the whole movie did the same thing that American Psycho did.
Yeah.
So it shows the jerk.
But I love.
Who's already almost crazy, and then he goes really crazy.
It's so weird the parallels between these movies because I love them both.
Yeah.
Equally, almost.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even tell you which one's better because they're so good in their own way. Like American Psycho is so crazy and so many aspects of the filmmaking that are just amazing. But then this movie is looks like it costs like $10 to make, and it's funny as fuck. Like there's so many moments that are just like.
Well, American Psycho is funny too. These movies aren't the same movie.
But as much as there are funny moments in American Psycho, there are moments that
they're not funny.
Well, they're more. There's scenes that are meant to elicit thought, I guess. There's one scene. Remember when he hides those dead bodies in a closet and something, and you see inside the closet for a second, and it's all bloody. The walls are all bloody. Everything is just dead bodies in it.
Mm.
And then he goes back to that apartment with that closet in it. I guess he just owns a bunch of apartments because he's rich, and and the whole apartment is cleaned out.
Yeah.
There's a new fresh paint everywhere. There's and he goes in the closet and it's just clean and there's all these paint buckets and things in it, and it looks like the whole place has just been torn out and then cleaned up and put together.
This movie had shit like that too, though.
And then the landlady comes into the room and she's like, "Hey, you looking for something?" And she sees that he's looking into the closet like he left something there, and she goes, "Oh." He's like, "Look, I don't know who you are or what you want, but you better get out of here right now." Like, she doesn't even... Like, this is just a single character that exists for, 30 seconds in the movie. And she has so much depth to her character already. Just, she's a landlady. She's trying to make money off this, this apartment that she owns or something, or her agency owns or something. And she clearly went there one day and found all these dead bodies in the closet and was like, "Well, this ain't profitable," and then cleaned it all up, and then Bateman came back to collect his stuff, and then it was all gone, and now she's like, "Oh, you must be the guy who left all that there. Yeah, you're bad for business. You can't be hiding dead bodies in my apartment."
I didn't think about that like that.
There's lots of stuff in that movie that is very thought provoking. Well, in this movie, it might be thought provoking.
They had stuff like that.
Yeah,
they did.
I would say.
So
I'd say American Psycho does the thought-provoking stuff better, is what I would say. They do that kind of commentary a little better. Yeah, that's what I would say.
I think that's fair, but the word thought-provoking, like he got bit, vampire bit him, and then in the morning he cut himself in the neck and they put a Band-Aid on it, and it's like, and then later it turned out that was the bite. So it's like, it seems like inconsistent with what. Yeah. It's like, is it the cut or is it a bite?
There's I wrote something down.
Like eating a cockroach was just like I don't know. I guess that's not the same
He
thing.
okay, after he puts that Band-Aid on, he never takes it off. There's not a scene in the movie where he doesn't have it on. There's a scene where he is in the shower.
I didn't think about that.
and he is wearing the Band-Aid in the shower. And it's just on there. I'm just like, what like he's continuing this this delusion for himself even when no one's around. Like that's I guess how you can tell that he is really crazy.
But there was a injury
that he really believed.
There was an injury on his neck.
Yeah, but you gonna shower with a Band-Aid on? What do you mean?
I mean, that's the crazy thing. I don't know.
The craziest part of this movie.
He showers with.
Oh my god!
What?
Can you believe it?
That's how you know he starts going crazy. Because the first scene where he showers
that
with Band-Aid,
explains this entire movie.
you know he's starting to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Where he goes when he goes on that date with that woman, and they go to the museum, and then he just walks out,
yeah,
and this takes a cab and just leaves.
That was weird.
It's amazing.
That was
Oh
funny.
my god! And then she calls her, he's like, "Fuck you!" And then he calls her back, and he's like,
I'm so sorry.
"I'm so sorry.
I have an
I had a really important reason. I'll explain it to you later
Yeah.
if we talk in person."
Yeah.
And then what happens later? They go out for a date.
No, he wants to leave. He wants to go on the date, and she says, "Okay, fine." And he's like, "I'll explain." And then he's about to leave, gets ready, and then he goes to the door, and then the whole delusion begins with the vampire, and he feels like the vampire is making him stay inside.
Yeah,
That's what happens. So it's not he. Who knows what would have actually happened if he actually gone there? Maybe he would have been nicer to her, but the delusion stopped him. It wasn't his conscious.
Okay,
choice.
now was it the delusion or was it anxiety?
Well, the movie showed it was a delusion.
But was
It
that
like a
just
vampire
was that just a
walking in.
way for him to channel in his emotions about how he really feels about this girl, and that he can't bring himself to go out with her because he's too afraid of commitment?
Then why would he call her and do that?
You're reading too much into it, okay?
I am. You're right. I am.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, that's right.
Cinema. Let's see some of my notes I took. Oh yeah, where he's like, but get in here immediately. He's like, that is whoever on the phone.
Oh yes.
You're gonna sit here, you're gonna listen
He pretended.
to everything he has to say about, because all this is your fault.
Yeah.
And
No, he said you're gonna listen to the the show I have to put on.
yeah.
Just because of your negligence or whatever.
So-
And so he picks up the phone, and the guy's like, "Hey, I know you're still looking for that thing. Take your time. There's no rush about that at all. Thanks for looking." And he's like, "Okay." And he's like, "All right, man. I'll talk later. Bye." Like, so I didn't have to make a big show.
No, he
because
said that I wrote it down. He said, well, as you can see, I couldn't get a word in edgewise.
Exactly. I couldn't get a word in edgewise because he was so upset. So he just consciously lied to his assistant, pretending like as if he was upset.
What's that word for someone when they are just like a liar, like all the time, like not
Compulsive.
Yeah, I guess compulsive.
liar.
Like that's like this guy. What is okay?
Well, it's the same thing with Patrick Bateman. It's just about the power.
Yeah.
It's just about having power over the lower class. And there was a scene in American Psycho where he kills a homeless guy, right?
Yeah.
He just goes up to a homeless guy and stabs him and walks
Why don't you get a
away.
job?
Yeah. And that is what this guy's doing.
Yeah.
He's just being purposefully cruel to the lower class.
Yeah.
Just because.
And I think, okay, maybe he is crazy and he does believe he's a vampire. Okay, I won't deny that.
Definitely.
But I think there is some level of him, underneath that knows this is a shtick to justify to himself that why he's such an asshole all the time.
But he's an asshole before he was a vampire. He was an asshole.
But I'm so
already.
Maybe this is a time in his life where he's being introspective and he's realizing this about himself, and he's like, "Oh no, I can't just keep being an asshole for no reason. I gotta justify it to myself.
Yeah,
I have to be the only answer is to be a vampire.
But
the
before
only
the
solution.
vampire thing, he wasn't a murderer. This was he literally completely changed his psychology because he was a vampire.
Yeah.
And he would not murder people before.
Well, we don't know that. He could have. We didn't see everything.
They could have seen more. But yeah, the biggest point you can make that he knew he was a vampire was the fact that he bought vampire teeth.
And
Why? What are you buying vampire? Are you a vampire or not? You know, I don't. Why did you buy the teeth?
Yeah.
Very weird.
I mean, also, vampires would die in the sun. He goes in the sun multiple times.
But he always puts on glasses.
What do you? The glass is gonna stop. What are they gonna do?
Well, vampire rules are always, wishy-washy. Some vampires
yeah.
will disintegrate in the sun. Some will just sparkle in the sun.
Yeah, so if you're the one of the vampires that disintegrates in the sun, wearing sunglasses, so what? So like your eyeballs are fine, but you.
Well, it's just your eyes are sensitive to the sun. It's not that they're gonna disintegrate your eyes.
Oh, we should watch Omega Man. That's a great movie.
But the vampires from Midnight
Mass.
Was that Midnight?
Midnight Sass.
I was gonna say Midnight Sabbath, but Midnight Mass.
Uh-huh.
The way they touched the sun was my favorite I've ever seen a vampire
It's pretty good.
interact with the sun.
That'd probably be the most like I don't know if I've seen that disintegration in the sun from vampires done the same way in other media, but it feels like I should. This feels like the standard.
That was the standard. Like the first moment where he like walks out of the door and he puts his hands up, it's like, and then like I felt like pain on my body when it showed that first scene of his arm burning, and like the rest of the show he has to like wrap it up because it's so injured.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like how severe these burns are from the sun for these vampires.
I'd get that looked at, buddy.
Those vampires were the best vampires of any show I've ever seen.
They're pretty good.
The most classic vampire.
What is one admirable trait you would give to Nicolas Cage's character?
The character? Well, it's the same characteristic I would give Patrick Bateman, which is drive.
I would say
drive.
He's very confident. That's what I would say.
Yes, yeah.
He's
confident.
Not an insecure bone in his body. Well, maybe. Because of
well, they're full of insecurity. Both of them are full of
insecurity.
insecurity.
You're right. It's not right to say.
But they don't emit insecurity.
They don't perform any.
They don't make it seem like they're insecure.
Word. Yeah, they don't give off.
Their outward appearance is of confidence.
They're extroverted. But they're insecure.
They're horribly insecure.
Yeah.
But they only exalt confidence and make people feel like they are the most confident people in the world, which can be an advantageous characteristic.
Sure.
But I think drive is a really strong characteristic that they both have, because they are like, when I want something, I'm gonna do it, even if it means killing people to get it done. So good for them.
Yes.
That's the kind of drive that.
And in the end, he got everything he wanted.
Maybe in his mind.
Maybe. Maybe that is what he wanted.
What, the end? So, okay, let's talk about the end.
Okay.
With an end, after he goes fully crazy and he goes into his apartment, and then he's under a couch.
And I was thinking about that couch. I was looking at it, and it's stacked up on books. It's upside down, and then there's books propping it up, so you can climb underneath it. And I was just thinking, like, so he's alone in his apartment, and he did that all by himself. I couldn't imagine. That's a two-man job. Flipping that couch over and then putting the books underneath and then stacking in a way that it, is propped up. Like, that's a two-man job. You can't do that with one person.
I think one person could do that.
The continuity is bugging me.
I think one person could do that.
No.
I don't know why you think two people would need. You flip it over, you start putting books under the arms so it builds up little by little. One person could totally do that.
I mean, a vampire could do it.
Easily. Super strong.
Anyway, so he's got under the couch.
Under the couch, then Eva is her name? Evelyn?
Alva.
Alva's brother comes in, is mad at him because he raped Alva, and then he pulls the couch off the dude.
Yeah.
And the dude takes the wooden stake and targets it into his own heart.
No, that's not what happens.
That is what happened.
No. Nicolas Cage is laying there and he has the wooden stake in his hand and he holds it up.
That's
himself.
what I mean. That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said the brother.
No. Nicolas Cage holds the thing himself, targets it into his own heart, and then the brother just is out of fury, just smushes it into the dude's heart. And then after that, I was even more confused because it shows Nicolas Cage go like, and then it zooms out, and the brother wasn't there.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was intentional The brother
This movie is trying to fuck with
I was
you
like,
every
wait.
second.
was the brother there. Like that wouldn't really make any sense because there was lots of lore behind the brother.
Yeah, because there were scenes where Nicolas Cage's character wasn't there, where it's just Alva and her brother, and so those can't not be
those cannot be
in his mind. So
exactly.
you know, he broke his window on his door and broke in. That he wasn't there for all that.
Brother really probably was there. That last scene was a little confusing because he wasn't.
What do you do if you're her brother and you're just like, all right, I just killed this vampire guy in his apartment and I'm gonna go home now?
Well, in the 80s, I don't think they had DNA yet, so I think you're not too in danger.
How are we gonna catch this vampire hunter, killer, detective?
He was
let him go.
Seemed like he wanted to die. Well, see, that's the other side of it. It's like he wanted, like the fact that he put it into his own heart is like.
Yeah, that scene where he took Alva's gun with the blanks in it and fired it in his mouth. He was really gonna kill himself.
That looked real too. Okay, that looked just like the roach scene.
Uh-huh.
That also looked like. Could he have actually done that with blanks and a gun?
No, real blanks? No, he would break his tooth. It would shatter his teeth if he did that.
I was saying that scene looked really real.
I think it was like one of those pop guns where it's just the smoke comes out. You know?
Okay,
it's not.
I mean, it made a bang.
Yeah, because you put a little bit of gunpowder in there. It makes
okay, but he actually did that with something.
Well, a blank it just makes a loud enough
explosion.
like there's no what's it called, thing in the bullet, like a piece of like a Full Metal Jacket has a end that's a steel
bullet,
and then there's no metal in it, it's just the powder.
Right.
So when you pull it, it's just gonna make a loud noise and it has sort of a recoil.
Well, I've heard real blanks are still dangerous because if you shoot someone with a blank and if you're point blank away, if you're very close to them and you shoot them, it can still injure them. Like it can like it's like an explosion on your skin.
Well, I mean, I've heard of
it's directed into your skin.
I heard of people going blind because they shot it close to someone's eye. I've heard of I heard of a dude who died because he pointed a blank at his temple and it shattered the bone in his skull from the impact, and then a shard from his skull went into his brain and killed him immediately.
That sounds very real.
Yeah.
So, like, if you did that into your own mouth, a real blank, I was like, I feel like that could actually kill you. or
it would hurt.
Even if it wasn't a bullet.
You'd feel
like it's going to go into the back of your throat and, like, explode.
But he was really thinking, I'm going to kill myself right now. And he took two. He didn't take one, like, oh, I'm immortal. He was like, oh, it didn't work. And he tried it again. And it still didn't work.
And then he thought he was immortal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that was weird. Why did he try to kill himself?
Why did he want to die? He's got the life. He's doing great.
I guess he thought maybe
guilt.
Yeah, maybe he's just coming to terms with how much of a jerk he really is.
Well, I mean,
he's actually like, you know what? Shouldn't be around.
I think that's what the whole vampire persona is just him coming to terms with him being a selfish asshole and then doing this whole vampire thing. And then he's like, what am I doing? I'm pretending to be a vampire or something because I'm an asshole. Let me kill myself. This seems like the right.
Maybe it's that he started becoming a vampire, and then that vampire gave him the excuse to be like, okay, now I'm really unsavable.
Now I'm really
what's the word? I'm really. There's no hope for me at all anymore.
Oh man.
There's a word for that.
Word that
There's definitely no hope for me anymore, and there's no way I'm going to be redeemed. I'm unredeemable.
Unredeemable.
I'm irredeemable now because I'm actually physically a vampire, so now I can actually just stop my own existence because there's no reason for me to exist. But yeah, I don't know. It's everything in this movie.
If you really believe you're a vampire, a bullet to the head isn't going to kill you.
Well, that was the test. Well, that's true.
Maybe that was just testing if he was really a vampire.
Yeah, that was the test. And the fact that that moment is the moment where it confirmed to him he was a vampire.
You know what else I was thinking? If he really thought that was a real bullet in there, even if he believed he was a vampire, like the bullet would go out of your head and come out the other end, and you would be alive.
Not necessarily.
Or you'd be holding a bullet in your mouth.
It'd go down your throat.
You'd swallow a bullet. You'd know there was a bullet somewhere somewhere.
It would just go so fast down your throat, it would have not even been noticeable.
Oh, you've done this before?
It's just logical. That's just logically how it worked. But
it's just right down.
It would just be like, oh, I guess I swallowed it. But no, like that was the moment where it was clear to him he was a vampire, because that was the test. Like, obviously, if I shoot myself, I'm gonna die. But he did not know they were blanks. He thought they were real bullets, and he lived.
Yeah.
And this was like, there's no other explanation.
There's no other.
Like, what would be the likelihood this woman has blanks in her gun? That's not.
Obviously, vampires exist. What do you mean, no blanks? Women don't carry blanks.
I mean, I wouldn't have thought that, but if I'm already on the teetering edge of sanity, I wouldn't have thought like a more logical line of thinking. I would have thought, oh, this confirms I'm a vampire. Not this confirms that this gun didn't have bullets in it.
Yeah, clearly logic is not in his vocabulary. But
that's how you know he actually thought he was a vampire. That scene.
Yeah, there's a few scenes that kind of pretty much confirm that he believes it.
If he didn't think he was a vampire, he wouldn't have killed. He tried to kill himself.
That way. Well, you know, that's debatable. But yeah. Let's see any more notes. Alba needs to get his shit together.
Yeah. Oh my god. Honestly, that whole problem that they had with the paper is so interesting, because that does not exist at all in modern society.
What do you mean?
The paper being lost.
Well, we don't have paper anymore.
That's my point.
Yeah.
This entire premise of this problem just doesn't exist in modern society.
I guess.
Anymore.
What if they remade this movie today?
Like, they would have to think, what's a really boring thing? I don't know. It would be maybe if you're a computer coder and you have to code a whole new thing to a brand new CPU or some crap that's really boring. Mr. Nicolas
Cage, I went to college for 8 years to get my degree, and you're going to code the Angry Birds app that I told you to do, or some bullshit.
Yeah, it'd have to be something tedious that...
The lowest on the totem pole here.
Yeah. But luckily, that task in that movie has been completely automated, and is there's never a problem like that in modern society. Because every piece of documentation that any company gets recorded is recorded digitally in a file on a computer in a server somewhere. Yeah. Even if it's 10 years old, you're going to be able to retrieve it immediately.
I'll get the file from it. It's right here. Oh.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of funny.
At one point, he's biting his pillow, and it's kind of like it's kind of like meant to be like he's thinking about biting someone as a vampire and drinking their blood. So he's biting his pillow. He's like, he's just, you know. And I'm just thinking about that. I was like, is biting a pillow or something for a vampire like masturbating? You know what I mean? It's like not close enough to a real thing, but gets you, far enough to...
It's better than nothing. Yeah. Well, the fact that it doesn't get you any blood is the real problem.
Maybe if you had a pet pig, because then that would be bestiality then.
It's not like masturbating, because masturbating actually finishes something, but biting a pillow, that's
like
more
edging.
like...
It's like edging.
It's like teasing, yeah.
Teething.
It's like teasing.
Or it could be both.
Teething?
Teething, because vampire, you know?
Oh, it is like teething. That's really fun.
Teasing, I guess, yeah.
It's like I'm teasing you.
It's like edging. It's like edging.
It's like edging. That's what he's doing.
That's what it is.
Like, no, there is no release because he doesn't actually get any blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, masturbating would be without animal. But that's bestiality. So
how do you get there without it being another thing?
Drinking from a blood bag would be your own blood. Drinking your own blood from a blood bag.
That's like swallowing your own,
Like masturbating.
Oh yeah,
like how everyone.
Go on. There's that scene from. Have you ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where they're talking about one character? He's legitimately talking about starting a cream pie business, and the rest of them are like, cream pie? What are you talking about? And he's like, I really like my cream pies, and I think other people like them too. And if I could just make a business where everyone could enjoy my cream pie, then I could make everyone happy. And they're like, Charlie, what are you talking about, man? He's like, everyone just loves my cream pie, like kids, old people, like, everyone just loves my cream pie. And he's like, Charlie, this is disgusting. I don't want any part of this. And then he's just like, you guys should try my cream pie sometime. I'm like, no, Charlie, we're not going to try your cream pie. He's like, well, I tried them pretty good. You tried your own cream pie? And then another guy sitting at the table was like, I've actually tried my own cream pie. And then the guy who's talking was like, actually, yeah, I have too. And that's
puns.
Great scene.
Puns are good.
Yeah, I mean, God, what else is there to talk about?
Too much.
It's just a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let me look at what other movies this director has made. Where is my God? Google really has gone down. Director Robert Bierman. Movies. Not a lot. Wow. A Merry War. Jesus Christ.
Never heard of it.
There's like nothing here. This is like his only movie that's good. Or at least it was
successful.
Successful. A Merry War.
That's a weird legacy.
This movie looks boring. Yeah, that's really weird to just make this like super satirical movie on a shoestring budget and then just not have any, good credentials for your directing career after that. Like, just like pop one of these out and I'm good. That's all I need.
Yeah, he deserved better.
Justice for Robert Bierman.
Yeah.
Budget is $2 million. That's actually not bad.
For a Merry War?
For Vampire's Kiss.
Oh.
$2 million. Well, okay, so it does look like a lot, especially for the 80s, but when you think about it, you gotta rent cameras. Those are a lot. You don't know how you wanna film for a certain amount of hours in a day, so you pay exactly how much you budget for, not a penny more. But stuff happens. Sometimes people are late. Sometimes, stuff gets broken. You gotta fix. You have to keep renting them for more hours.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. Everyone has to be paid. Every boom mic person, every script writer, every actor, every pun. You gotta pay to rent sets. You gotta pay for wardrobe. You gotta pay for makeup. You gotta pay for, everything you can think of. You gotta pay for it.
Most people who
pay for lunch.
Most people who aren't familiar with cinema very much will always be absolutely flabbergasted to know how much every movie costs. Because it's always going to be more than they expect.
I'd say the average moviegoer doesn't even know what a director is or what they do. That's what I would think. Is because it doesn't help you to enjoy the movie more as an audience member to know the intricacies of the movie. I mean, it does for me personally, but that's not why they make movies. They make movies just so you can sit there and turn your brain off and just enjoy it.
It's not. You can analyze it from just this, like, appreciating the art, or you could analyze it in a meta perspective and not just appreciate the art, but appreciate the craftsmanship of the artists. You're appreciating the ability of the artist, not just the art itself. Like, it's the difference between, like, eating a meal and being like, that was a good meal. I like that meal. Versus, wow, this person was able to get the perfect sear. This must have taken lots of time and effort and understanding of how food cooking works and the process and make sure everything was done just the right way to make it this perfect.
Yeah, I mean, $2 million is not a lot for a movie, honestly. For a 2-hour feature.
Well, it was in the 90s, right?
80s.
It was in the 80s?
80s.
Well, it was even more than...
Yeah, it says adjusted for inflation, it's $7 million now. Almost 8. But honestly, even that is like I said, everyone's got to get it paid. And so by the end of that, after you paid all, renting and everything, by the end of it,
I mean, considering that there was no special effects.
How much did this movie...
Sounds pretty reasonable.
How much did it make? It made $700,000.
On the box office.
Yeah.
But that's not...
It's not considering VHS releases or anything.
That is... Wow, that is crazy. So it made about...
So it bombed. Pretty bad.
Less than half.
Yeah.
But it now is a cult favorite. right?
Is it though? Because like I don't know if anyone knows about this movie more than they know the meme.
Well, it's what when I mean cult favorite, I mean it's very unpopular to the majority, but for the minority that enjoy it, they enjoy it an abnormal amount.
I would love to talk with someone who's seen this movie and hates it. And hates it doesn't get the comedy. It takes it completely seriously. Thinks this is a man going crazy, or that he's genuinely a vampire, or something like that. And I just want to hear their side of things and why they hate this movie.
Yeah.
Because really, this movie is it's amazing. It's so self-aware. It's funny. It's all the acting is great from that lady who played Alva. I thought she was great. She you can genuinely see fear in her eyes. And Nicolas Cage is chasing her.
Yeah.
And
that was pretty scary.
yeah, I don't think there's any bad acting in the movie at all. Which is crazy because I can see movies nowadays in the year 2025 with hundreds of millions of dollars of budget, and then they turn a camera and someone's just like, yeah, and then I was chased and I was and then raped and then I called the cops and then and it's just like there's nothing. There's nothing in your eyes. Yeah. You're soulless. Get out of here.
Money doesn't equate to good acting.
Yeah.
More money.
Definitely.
You can definitely be a great actor, but not be paid very much.
Very much so.
But I would definitely call this a cult classic.
Sure, yeah.
It's a cult, has a cult following.
Definitely.
It is insanely popular in the group of people it's popular.
I mean, I think American Psycho also bombed at the...
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it bombed, but now it's a cult classic.
That's a cult classic.
I think I remember an interview with... We've talked so much about American Psycho.
It's unavoidable.
It's unavoidable.
It's unavoidable to talk about this movie and America. You cannot talk about this movie and not American
comparisons
Psycho.
Are blatant. But
inspiration.
I remember an interview with Christian Bale where he was like, everyone told me not to do this movie because they said I was crazy and that my career would be ruined. So that just made me want to do it more. And then he did the movie and it bombed, and everyone was telling him, "Now your career's over. You'll never be in Hollywood. You'll never work in Hollywood again." He was like, "Okay, that just makes me want to do it more." And then he became Batman. Jason
loser.
Batman.
Jason Batman.
Oh, foreshadowing.
Interesting.
What if Nicolas Cage played Batman?
Look, let's think about this, right? Batman and Jason Bateman also have some parallels.
You know what? Batman and the Nicolas Cage from this movie are parallels. You know why?
That's interesting.
Bats.
Wow! Bats.
Yeah.
The insight that you're providing people.
Literally, though, like, kind of. I mean, what is Batman other than just an eccentric rich kid who, instead of allocating, all of his money to charities or anything like that, goes out into the night and beats up poor people?
That's why I'm saying Bateman and Batman are very similar. Parallels. Jason Bateman and Batman are just violent, rich oligarchs who want to just put violence onto the lower class because they are struggling to find a better form of living.
Because it's funny, honestly. That's why.
They think it's funny. That's what it is.
And they're right. Honestly, I love rich people. They're my favorite. Especially making movies about them. They're so funny.
I'll always...
What, are you going to make a movie about a poor person? Boring. Oh, I can't pay my rent. I want to watch a movie about a rich guy who has never gone a day in his life without, a wad of cash in his pocket and, models all around him, just goofing around.
That's way more relatable to me.
Oh, there's this movie called The Comedian, and it's about a guy who's like, he doesn't have a job, but he's like a rich kid, and he's in his 30s, and he basically is just, the movie's just him wandering around town, just like doing random shit, and like at one point.
Zach Galifianakis, right?
No, it's what's his name? Hincliffe. He did that one show. Oh crap! What's his name? I gotta find it now. The guy, the comedian. Oh god, this is not it. Comedian to. god. How is it
There's
this?
lots of the comedians.
How is it this hard? Okay.
Comedian.
What's a movie?
There's multiple movies called Oh yeah, this guy.
There it is. The comedy. The comedy.
Oh yeah, that's what you meant. Yeah, he's
What's
like
his
Zach
name?
Galifianakis.
What's his name? This baby boy.
Tim Heidecker.
Tim Heidecker. Yeah, he and there's like one scene where he just like he just wears these shitty clothes all the time, and he just carries like a grocery bag with his stuff in it, like money and like a toothbrush and just like miscellaneous items, like he's in a video game, and he just goes into a place. He's like, "Hey, I'd like to apply for a job." And he's like, "Okay, what do you want to do? What do you got?" He's like, "Well, we need a dishwasher." He's like, "Yeah, I'll be that." And they're like, "All right, you're hired." And then he goes and he like throws some dishes around, and then he just walks out and leaves. And then and then he goes to another place, and they're like doing all this yard work for this like this couple's mansion, and there's all these like Mexican workers that are doing yard work and stuff. And then he just grabs a rake and just starts like doing stuff, just like raking the grass or whatever. And then they just come up to him and they're like, "Hey, so when do you guys think you're gonna be done for the day?" This is the couple that owns the house, and he's like, "Oh, well, we ran into a lot of problems. It's gonna take hours now. But we were wondering, can we go in your pool while everyone was asking, can we just use your pool before we get back to it?"
Oh my God.
We were all wondering about that, and they were just like. And it's like so awkward. They're just looking at each other like, sure. And he's like, "Great, thanks." That guy right there, he really wanted to use your pool really bad. And then he just leaves. He just...
My God. That just makes me so awkward just thinking about that.
That's the whole movie. It's 2 hours of that. And I love movies about these eccentric people, because these people exist in the world, and no one can convince me otherwise.
That's pretty...
No one can convince me
pretty
otherwise.
unusual person.
These are real people who are just rich, spoiled brats.
Bored people.
Who are just bored with life.
Yeah.
And are just, going around fucking shit up. Trying to make some entertainment out of the world.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, just not as much money.
Wow.
Cinema.
I could have been that person.
I could have. Is that the goal, by the way? So, like, everyone wants money and wants to be rich. And then you see the people who actually get there in life and I have the money, don't have any struggles or any care in the world or any stress. And then they're just going around just like, it's like, what do I do today?
Aimless.
I could go buy a Lamborghini, and I already got 12.
No. See,
I
money
could
doesn't buy happiness, people.
I could do drugs until I'm reached euphoria. I did that yesterday.
Money gets you happiness to a certain point, and then it stops. Then it's
Wait, so what's the point of life then?
Well, it's the $1 million question right there.
Yeah, but Vampire Skits. Vampire Skits, great movie.
Great movie.
I'd highly recommend.
Yeah, it's not.
Very selective audience.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the best movie ever made, but it's definitely worth watching, especially if you're familiar with Nicolas Cage and you want to understand a very important part of his lore.
I'd say what I find value in movies is, well, one way is if I can watch the movie and I find moments in the movie memorable. Like, I watch the movie, and then I don't think about it for a while, and moments in the movie just keep popping up in my head, like, as I'm doing things throughout the day.
This
just
does
like,
that.
Like, I thought about that scene where he's talking to Alba about, and you're gonna do it, and I'll fire you if you don't. Like, I think about that scene all the time, and it's just like, it's so memorable, and I think that is where the value in movies is for me, is like rewatchability and memorable moments like that. You know, it doesn't have to be $100 billion movie like Avengers or whatever. It doesn't have to be a slice of life movie about that drama and sadness, romance or whatever. It can just be like this movie. Like, this movie feels like a couple of guys, like Nicolas Cage and the director, got together and there's like, let's just, like, I hate these like rich stock guy assholes. Let's make a movie about one of them. Let's make it as ridiculous as possible. And then this is just the result. And it's great. Like, this, like, more movies like this should exist.
Yeah, it's more of a... It's more unique, I'll definitely say. It's more unique than the more common movies.
It's a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, and if more movies were unique, I would definitely be supportive of that.
Yeah.
You know, more creative, more unexpected direction of ideas rather than the monotonous normal hero arc. This is very out of left field. So do more of this, Hollywood.
Absolutely. Yeah, Hollywood. We know you're listening.
Take
We know you're watching.
Take a piece of advice from us,
Mr. Hollywood.
We know what we're talking about, Hollywood.
You know who you are.
You better listen to me.
We know where you live. It's in the Hollywood sign. What if there's like a little man in the Hollywood sign, and he just lives there, and then he just makes all the movies, like a factory.
That's where it comes from.
And like underneath the mountain, there's like a factory, and they make the movies.
Isn't that what Under the Silver Lake was kind of about?
Sort of.
Yeah, there you go.
That's another movie. It's great. Maybe we'll review that movie. That'll be
future episode.
It'll be down the line.
Maybe not this next episode. But...
Not next time. I wanted this to be like, I wasn't sure if we should pick a comedy movie or something more cinematic, but I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. This is a do.
Yeah, I mean, I hesitate to even call this a comedy though, because it's like
it's definitely a comedy.
Come on. I would call it 10% comedy. I would call it that. There is a good.
So what's the 90%?
All the horrible things that are happening.
So what genre?
Oh yeah. What genre? I don't know. But not comedy.
Horror. If you're Alva, this is a horror movie.
It's partially horror, partially it's really
it's a satire.
Weird.
It's a comedy.
It's the genre that American Psycho was.
Sure.
I guess thriller partially, but definitely not only thriller. Like it's very weird.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it, because it's very unique. It doesn't just it doesn't fit in our normal definitions of genres, which is
that's
pushes boundaries.
That's yes, absolutely. That should be the goal of making a movie. Is like, I can't even put into a genre.
Yeah,
that's kind of like Under the Silver Lake. I don't know how to put that into a genre. It's mystery, it's horror, it's comedy, it's this, it's that.
Yeah,
You have anything else to say about the movie? I mean, I think we covered pretty much everything.
I think we covered it. I again, just guess the main point is, it was different. And that is what the best part of this movie was. It was funny, but it was more horrifying than funny.
What was the most horrifying part of the movie for you?
Probably when Alva had that horrible thing happen to her.
Yeah.
That was probably the worst. That was so horrible. Even the murder wasn't as horrible as that.
Great acting, though.
Great. Alva did a great job.
She's very afraid.
Yeah.
I wonder if they just grabbed a random lady off the street. He's like, "You're Alva. Do it.
She did a great job.
You're going to be in the scene now." Okay. Don't hurt me. Don't deport me.
She did a great job. For sure.
Yeah. Great acting all around. Great cast. Great. The cinematography wasn't honestly bad. Like, it wasn't like there wasn't a lot of
there wasn't really much,
but there were a few shots that I thought were really good. There's one shot where they're in a bar and the camera is like zoomed in the distance, and this couple, and the couple is talking, and then the camera slowly pulls back and it zooms back out, and then as it goes zooms back, there's another couple there, and then you can hear their audio from their conversation, and then it keeps pulling back, and there's another couple there, and you can hear what and they're like, "Hey, you want to grab a drink sometime?" And then it finally pulls back to Nicolas Cage and his day, and then it's just their audio.
I remember one of the conversations was a guy talking to a guy, and he's like, "Yeah, you really got to put it in an IRA because you get interest on it." And the guy says, "Wait, who would be interested in it?" Actually, I don't think I heard him say that, but I read that in the closed captions.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I was like, that's funny.
Yeah, I remember hearing that part, and I was just so focused on the camera. I was like, this sounds like it'd be, like, important, but I'm just, like, captivated by this camera transition here.
Yeah. They knew what they were cooking.
There were a few shots like that throughout the movie. Yeah, like that background, those background characters saying that like throwaway line, this movie has to be a comedy, man. How can you not say that? Like, it's
10%.
10%. I'd say it's maybe 50%. That's what I would say.
You are crazy.
Well, maybe I should dress up as a vampire.
10% comedy.
Yeah.
10% of what was on screen was funny.
You know something? He used his couch as a coffin. And
it was a black couch.
Okay, and
Well,
and
vampire-y.
and
Mm-hmm.
and go on. He
Vampire's favorite colors.
that was his sex couch. That's where he had sex on for the beginning of the movie. He's having sex on the couch.
Sex on bed.
So it's like
too.
symbolic, you know. It's like parallels or something. Like that's his tomb now.
Oh, he had sex on the bed too. But yeah,
Yeah.
they had sex on the bed.
Did they? I remember he slept.
The
in the bed.
vampire did.
Is the vampire a different person now from Nicolas Cage? Are they separate
No.
personas?
The vampire and Nicolas Cage had sex on the bed.
Oh, yeah, the vampire lady. Yeah.
Yeah. The actual vampire.
What are you talking about then?
No, well, I was talking about her. And I was wondering what you were talking about. And I was like, oh, you're talking about Nicolas Cage.
We're just both lost.
Yeah.
Where are we going? I was following you. Well, I was following you. Great movie. Highly recommend. Show it to your grandma.
Yeah.
Confuse the shit out of
Do
her.
you think Nicolas Cage is a interesting actor?
Oh,
Definitely watch
absolutely.
this, for sure.
I don't like. Nicolas Cage has always been a favorite actor of mine. Like, I mean,
Yeah. Have you seen The Pig?
No, I want to though.
Bro.
It looks good.
It's
There was
crazy.
another movie I saw recently. He did. What was it? It was a movie that came out recently. I remember he did that one movie, Mandy. That was good. And then what was the one he did after that? I don't know. But he's just a great actor.
The Pig made me reassess his acting capability.
Yeah.
The Pig is really good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just had it in my brain. I was like, I just remembered the movie and I lost it again. This is what we're gonna do. Mind the dead air. Nicolas Cage movies. It's just gonna go on forever and ever. He does so many movies. Long Legs. I mean, he was good in Long Legs. Oh my God, have you ever seen Con Air?
No.
Oh my God, we should do a video on this movie.
Mm.
This is like.
Maybe I watched a long time
It's
ago.
it's an interesting one. But yeah, Nicolas Cage, he's always been good.
Mm.
I've always loved the movies he's done.
So go watch it.
Go support Nicolas
Watch
Cage.
this man.
Where can you watch it? Tubi. That's where you watched it, right?
I watched it on Tubi. Watch it on Tubi.
I pirated it.
Just get a
'cause
couple of ads.
I didn't feel like watching ads. Didn't feel like it. But if Nicolas Cage walked up to me and was like, "Hey, give me $5," I'd be like, "Yeah, here you go."
Mm,
I'd support him that way.
that's good.
I wouldn't pay for his movies.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's all we have to say. I think we're gonna try and upload regularly, or
Yeah, I'd be down.
try
I'd be down for sure.
Fridays. That's the days we film these on. More movie reviews and more discussion.
Discussions.
Episodes.
Open discussions.
Yeah, I've been like titling these videos like just objectively episode 1, 2, 3, like, but some of these are movies and some of these are discussion episodes. So I don't know if I should like put it in.
How about you have movies and those are numbered, and then you have discussions and those are separately numbered.
Right. Yeah.
So discussion 1, 2, 3, and then movie 1, 2, 3. Movie
Yeah.
review 1, movie review 2.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Even if you didn't watch, thank you. For your service. And yeah, I guess we'll catch you next time for the next movie review / discussion about life or movies. Yeah. So good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.